Hola, clase. So I am going to show you a new verb today that is going to give you a definition of different uses that we have. We do have to understand, first of all, that just like the verb ser, that means to be, we use it with specific uses. Tener is one of those verbs that is so irregular because it has multiple uses, yeah? And I am going to teach you two uses today. So we use the verb tener to say how old we are or how old is somebody else, yeah? And also we use the verb tener to say what we have, what she has, what you have, yeah? So let's start with the infinitive verb. The infinitive verb of tener is tener, yeah? So as to have, that's the definition, to have. And if you notice, tener, you have to conjugate it. You mix it with the pronouns to be able to get to the conjugation, yeah? So when I have it tener just like this, as you see on the screen, that is called the infinitive. That means it's his original form. It hasn't been mixed with anything else or anybody else, any pronoun, and it's just how original form, yeah? Once I start mixing tener with yo, then I have the conjugation as tengo. Tener, if you mix it with tu, you have tienes. Tener, mix it with él, ella, usted, and the product conjugation is tiene. Tener, mix it with nosotros, and you will have tenemos. Tener, mix it with vosotros, and you will have tenéis. And then tener, mix it with ellos, ellas, ustedes, and then you have tienen, yeah? And the definition in English, it will be, I have, yo tengo, tú tienes, you have, informal. Él tiene, he has. Ella tiene, she has. Usted tiene, formal, you have, singular. And then we have pluralization, nosotros tenemos, we have. Or feminine, nosotras tenemos. Vosotros tenéis. This is when you go to Spain, yeah? And then you have ellos or ellas tienen. They have. And last one, ustedes tienen. You all have in a region that is not Spain, yeah? So, for example, I want to use tener to say I have pencils. I will say yo tengo 10 lápices, yeah? Or I can say I have a phone. You say yo tengo un teléfono, yeah? So again, you use this verb to say what you have, what she has, what we all have, or also to say our age. So now with age is a little more tricky. You guys learned this question. How old are you? Which is ¿cuántos años tienes? Yeah. And you notice, wow, that doesn't make sense. You probably think, when I say my age, I say I am 20, 13, or 14 years old, right? I am. So that to me sounds to be, right? Well, here's the situation. Tener is actually going to mean the second definition I have for you. I'm going to take the to have, and then we are going to add the second definition. Tener, it's going to mean to be only to say your age, yeah? And make sure you're making these notes in there because this can be confusing if you don't make notes. So I am going to use tener as to be only with age. As you notice, we don't use ser, which means to be as well. We don't use it when we're saying how old we are, right? So to be is only with you're using your age. So let me erase this. So, and even when you say your age, or you can say to say how old you are. So that's when we use tener as to be. For example, I am 20 years old. You are 20 years old. Tiene. He has 20 years old. Ella tiene. She has 20 years old. Usted tiene. You have 20 years old. We have. Tenemos 20 años. We have 20 years old. You all tenéis. So you all have in Spain. Yeah. And then they have 20-year-old. Yeah. So that's a straight translation. It's like saying I have 30 years, right? You don't say I am as saying yo soy, because if you use the verb to be as yo soy 20 años, it's like saying my name is 20 years. Yeah. So you want to use the verb tener to say I am, you are, he is, she is, you are, we are, you all are, they are. Yeah, to say your age. So knowing that, then you have questions like ¿Cuántos años tienes? Look how tienes. I'm using tienes. So because in here I'm asking the questions, how old are you, right? So I'm conjugating the verb in the to form. Now, what if I ask a third person question? ¿Cuántos años tiene somebody else? How old somebody is, yeah? So I'm using tiene. Notice that I am using now él or ella, because in here, my subject is going to be he, she, or a title of a name of a person. ¿Cuántos años tiene ella? ¿Cuántos años tiene él? ¿Cuántos años tiene María? ¿Cuántos años tiene la profesora? Yeah. And to respond, you say the name of the person, tiene, and then the years. Yeah. To say, ella has 20 years. That's the straight translation. But in reality, you're saying she is 20 years old. Yeah. So again, you are learning the two question, how old are you? And also learning how old is somebody else. Yeah. You learned these questions before, and I just wanted to tell you that it comes from the verb tener. Now, I do have a quick exercise for you. Yeah, so I'm giving you the age of all these people. Yeah, and you're gonna practice numbers in here. So have your handout for numbers ready to go. So the first question in here is, ¿Cuántos años tiene Elena? How old is Elena? Yeah, so I do have to say that my subject is Elena. Is that correct? Elena. Now I need to say Elena is 20 years old. Well, actually, no, never mind. I go here and I find how old is Elena, and I see the number 72, right? So that means that Elena is 72 years old. So how would I say that in Spanish? Well, simple. I put my subject, in this case, Elena is my subject, and I'll say Elena, and then Elena is the name of a girl, so that means it's she. So if I go to she, I will have to use tiene, right? So in this case, I will say Elena tiene, and then 72 años. Yeah. Check how I am using the age. Yeah. And I want you to spell the numbers because you are practicing in how to spell numbers. So I'm going to copy the años so we do the punctuation mark. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see and visualize it. Yeah. So basically what you will have to do in here is give me the age of these people that I'm asking about based off the age I'm giving you. Yeah. And you will have to use the conjugation of the verb tener versus basing this little chart. So how about we practice some subjects with this verb? So let's do something really quick. So I'm going to do la profesora. And then I am going to say los muchachos. Also can bring your professions. Yeah, so if you go to your purple sheet and then you find how to say fireman, you will say el bombero. Yeah, or if I want to look and say how to say the nurse, on that purple sheet you find the nurse, you say la enfermera. How about we make this plural? So I will say las enfermeras. What if I want to say yo? Yeah. So now these are subjects, right? So based on those subjects, I want you to conjugate the verb tener. So let's see. La profesora. What version of tener you will say to say the professor has? Yeah. So la profesora is a she. So that means the is going to be ella tiene, right? So la profesora, and then I am going to put tiene, right? And then los muchachos. So los muchachos, is that singular or plural? We notice that los muchachos is plural. So that means they is them, ellos. So what version of tener we use for ellos? Tienen. So then I am going to put tienen, right? And I'm gonna make it big here so you can see it. So la profesora tiene, and then we have los muchachos tienen, yeah? What about el bombero? What do you guys think? El bombero. So el bombero is a guy, so él tiene. So I'm going to say tiene. Yeah? Now las enfermeras. What if I say las enfermeras? The nurses. Ellas. So that means we are going to use las enfermeras tienen. Yeah. Now what if I am using yo? Well, simple. Yo what? Then go. So that is the yo form to say I have. Now what if I, and I'm gonna make it a little more complicated here. La profesora y yo. What would you say if I have that subject? La profesora y yo. Well, that equals, when you mix yo with somebody else, equals nosotros. So that means that we are going to use tenemos. Yeah? Tenemos. Yeah? So that's how we conjugate the verb tener. Yeah? So based on that, I want you to go into this assignment and I want you to conjugate. Just copy the chart that you have in here. Yeah? Conjugate the verb and put it right here. And then based on the subjects or the pronouns that I'm giving you, conjugate the verb tener. Just like how I did here. Yeah. Now, I want you to make these notes really quick before you move on into the next part. You have the subject nadie, which means nobody. And then you have the question mark. The question word is quién, and you also have quiénes, right? You guys learned this with the verb set as well. So quién and quiénes, those are question words. So what version of tener would you use if you want to use that? If you want to use any of these terms in here? Well, simple. For nadie, you're always going to use él or ella, so you'll say tiene. For quién, you will use tiene. And for quiénes, which is plural, you will say tienen. Yeah? So that's pretty much the notation I want you to have. Also, don't forget to add your accent marks over these question words, you know, the quiénes, and I am not even gonna put it right now so I don't waste time, but we have accent mark at the end, and then accent mark over the E on the first E, and then you have your question marks at the end, yeah? So if you are in a Google Doc, you know that you just insert the characters and then you're able to submit the accent mark in there. So I hope that you understand how to do this work. Just as a summary, you know, you are going to do this assignment and this assignment. Yeah. Thank you. Ciao.